You like to see some of those, but if you don't get that, the big consolation is that you get blockbuster matches all the way through then to the end of the tournament. And we've got one to start
Ko Ping Chung
this weekend in Hildesheim. Ko Ping Chung, world number 4, will get us started.
The first rack. Ko Ping Chung to break.
Like we've seen so much the last year from this young man, one in the side, and I tell you, I don't know if most notice, the break has even improved. He's able to really hit him with a little more pace as well, which is going to serve a good purpose sometimes when you miss that one in the side, which is rare for Ko Ping Chung, but you'll make an odd ball here and there. But a nice starter here. I think the red 3 does go, so playing off the blue 2. Probably checks this with a little inside, trying to come 2 cushions in between the purple 5 and the black 8.
Yeah, his breaking towards the end of that US Open triumph back in September was absolutely off the charts.
And you could see maybe Josh a little amped up on the lag, overhit that by some piece, and it could be a little costly here in game 1. Such a smart player there. Most wouldn't have recognized to come all the way down with the cue ball, just playing it, making it that much easier to play off the pink to get up for the purple. You know, being here a few days, Michael, get to talk to some of the fans and whatnot, and they've been great, but been a very pro filler crowd here, of course. But the feeling I get, they just want to see quality pool, and of course they want filler to win, but just want to see great matches, and that's what we're in line for.
Yeah, such a tradition for the game here in Germany. Filler won the World Championship. He was the 4th German to do so. Of course, by far the most successful player in the history of this tournament, Germany's Ralph Souquet with 6 titles. The home favourite sitting down at the moment and looking likely to remain so the rest of this opening rack.
Yeah, a little more above the 8, but this is okay. On the slick table, pretty easy to fall forward. Playing the 9 in the lower right. Bit of a stretch for Ko Ping Chung here.
The perfect start, a break and run in the opening rack for the US Open champion, Ko Ping Chung. He leads Joshua Filler 1-0. And you look at the way he won that US Open, JJ, all 11 racks in the semi-final against Aloysius Yap. 10 racks in a row then in the final against Fedor Gors to turn it around. He's the sort of player who, once he gets in, you might be sitting down for a very long time. And that puts tremendous pressure on an opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ever since, actually before that U.S. Open, I felt like 6 or 8 months prior, maybe even a year when he made the semifinal of the U.S. Open, he had really started to show that class and that improvement. And he's just a confident young man, and I'll tell you, he's improved in all areas. The break may be the most.
Yeah, well, that was the bedrock of his success in Atlantic City. He was the 5th Asian to win the U.S. Open, the 5th successive first-time winner, and the 5th non-US winner in a row.
Rack 2. Ko Ping Chung to break, leading 1 rack to 0.
And you know, he wasn't far away from doing it all again just a few weeks later at the Hanoi Open. 1 rack away from getting to the final there before losing to Alban Ocean.
this cue ball is going to threaten the upper left a bit. It's almost likely our first push-out situation. If you're new to 9-ball, after the break and only after the break,
Push out call.
the breaker after making a ball or the incoming player after a dry break has the option to roll the cue ball out wherever they want. They have to declare push-out. The incoming player has the option to take the shot or pass it back. A huge part of the game in the most crucial moments, it seems. Here we're going to see a part of the game that Filler has certainly improved on. Tactical side.
Joshua, it's your choice.
This is difficult. Lots of kind of gaps, really. Nowhere to easily run. I wouldn't be surprised he passes this back. Could play the 2 up on the right side rail, just above the 3, trying to bring the cue ball back behind the 9 and the pink 4. There is the 8 there as well. I think Josh takes this on, actually. Oh, he passed it. Okay. Hasn't got to really strike a ball yet, right? Touchy shot from some distance. But this is kind of a soft safety. You're certainly going to leave some type of jump or kick that's very doable, but I think you're going to see the cue ball on the left side rail up behind the 8 and 9.
So Joshua Filler will finally get to play his first shot in this match.
The jump kiss shot here is on. It's not easy. Really surprised he's not entertaining that. There's a little distance between the 9 and cue ball, and then you got to get the cue ball down quickly to get at the 2. But
Extension called.
so he's going to kick and try and come across this. Trying to send the cue ball up the table as the 2 kind of banks over. I really like the jump here, but this is the area he really wants to improve at, and he has. See that coming across it? How good is that? And that's why the push out, you know, you can consider why didn't he take that, because it was going to be a reasonable kick no matter what. But you still don't expect that good of execution.
Foul stroke.
Yeah,
Ball in
don't
hand.
think the 3 got to the rail. Both the cue ball and the 2.
Please start the clock.
So close to getting that cushion, but a 9-ball pool after contact on the object ball, lowest numbered ball on the table, you have to drive a ball to the rail or pocket a ball to make a legal shot.
So Filler's first chance to really get stuck in and do what he loves. Rightly say he's improved greatly in the tactical side of the game, but you always feel he's itching to get in there and pop balls and make clearances. Let's look again at why he got this ball in hand. Talk us through this, Jeremy.
Yeah, again, he's hit the blue 2, but you'll notice going into the 3 does not contact the rail, neither the cue ball or another ball. So that does surrender ball in hand. Yeah, I mean, what separates Josh a lot of times is that ball pocketing ability, and that's still what really wins the events overall.
Yeah, win all the safety battles you like, but then you've got to back it up. The bread and butter business of getting them in the pockets.
Really awkward stretch for the lefty over the 9 there, even with the extension. Got to kind of pure this a little bit. This is a hair awkward. You may play it lightly, you may go through it coming across like that. But a little miss hit to the pocket. He could have got on top of the 7 there. So even though simple, still well done. A nice applause for Ko Ping Chung after that first break and run, but you're going to hear a little bit different. He can knock these last 2 in for Josh Filler.
Very different racket to the opener, but still an all-round high standard being maintained early on here, and it's 1-1 between Ko Ping Chung and Joshua Filler. So I was saying it was 5 years ago this week. He was only 21 years of age. He was world champion, then he went to Las Vegas and took out the US Open as well. Maybe a little bit surprising he hasn't added to those since, although of course we missed a year because of COVID. It would be truly astonishing if he didn't win multiple World and US Open titles over the course of a career, which probably still has about another 15 or 20 years to run at the highest level.
Yeah, you would think so, and I would agree with that, but this sport's getting younger and younger, and of course Matchroom and the World Nineball Tour, the dollars they're putting in, all the more events, you got to believe it's only going to get tougher for Josh Filler. Just like last year we talked about, had to be a wild card pick to make that Mosconi Cup team. So he knows he's got to keep at it, keep improving, keep fighting.
Yeah, he didn't actually win any world ranking events in 2023, big or small. In fact, the only one he got to the final of was the UK Open, where he was heavily beaten by Eklund Kachi. Has won a ranking title this year, though, the Derby City Classic. Edged out Piers Labutis in a hill finish back in January. His first ranking title since winning in Slovenia in October 2022.
Not the best hit on the one there. Was a bit thin. Maybe a little snatchy with the stroke. You could see the cue ball diving almost to the first diamond, kind of where the 8's at now. So normally they're trying to come off the 1 with the cut break into the middle diamond, then back towards the 9 with the cue ball. I don't think this one is playable. You can see it. This is a dangerous shot, all kinds of ways. So if you clip the 1 trying to come down behind the 9, you're going to open up the 1 for the side. You can get the snooker and still leave a pretty easy jump shot. So. Oh, does this one play in the side? Didn't think he had enough. I thought that was always going to be difficult. I may have considered the push out. You know, you don't want to push out because in 9-ball pool at any level, especially the top level, you have the worst of it when you have to push out. But I thought that was a pretty risky play, Michael.
Absolutely, and this is a bit of a giveaway for Filler at the start of the 3rd rack.
And one thing Kachi did pretty well at the beginning of their match is kind of kept Josh off the shot a bit, made him play some safety, some kicks. Don't want to get that left arm of Filler's going, that's for sure.
Yeah, he looked really out of sorts early on against Eklund Kachi. Trailed 4-1. Turned it round, though, to lead 5-4 and was never behind again. Was level at 6-all, but then finished very strongly. Won 3 racks in a row to advance. An improvement on last year when, as defending champion, he'd lost in the first round to Niels Fine.
Nice shot there. I think just enough. Now he's going to get a little... I don't know if he can get very tidy on the purple 5. Maybe he can ease this in. Good thing, though, the green 6 up in the left corner, very playable for many places. Okay, and it came over just enough to, I think he can draw by the 9, going between the black 8 and 9. Now this is a dangerous shot. The reason why, this is all about how you hit the pocket. If you hit the pocket a little thin, you could catch the 9 and scratch. May just go into the 9. Now what he did there, Michael, is he used a little more speed to play a little more ricochet off the purple 5 to create that route.
Said he looked very out of sorts early on against Kachi. That wasn't just in a pool sense. He didn't look well. Indeed, he's been battling the cold for some time. When you're traveling around so much to play in different tournaments, you pick up everything going, don't you? And even at his young age, it can take a while to shake off. But he looks a lot better today, 48 hours on.
Well, one thing with the pool players, these guys, they're so great with the fans, right? So they interact at all the tournaments, always giving the fans some time. Josh Filler, of course, as great as he is, he loves his fans.
His first break of the match was dry, but no matter, he's won the rack anyway, and having trailed 1-0, Joshua Filler now leads for the first time in this quarter-final at 2-1. Big news yesterday that's been many years in the making. We've been talking for some time about the prospect of bringing an Asian team into an event like this to compare really with the Mosconi Cup. Well, it's finally going to happen in Manila on the 17th of October this year. Europe, as holders of the Mosconi Cup, will play Asia for the inaugural staging of the Reyes Cup. And that's part of a very busy schedule. UK Open week after next. Then we're off to Saudi Arabia for the World Championship, Fulda and Atlantic City once again. And those two massive team events coming up towards the end of the year. There'll be several more dates, big dates as well, to be added to that in forthcoming announcements.
Seems all the players putting a little more into the break than I remember last year. We talked about it. No matter what break you have to keep working on one that has a little more speed. I think it's going to be a big benefit. I think he can get at this blue too. So it could be a very punishing mistake there in rack 3 from Ko Ping Chung.
Yeah, and a strange mistake as well. Absolute gift he handed to Filler. The shot he attempted.
Yeah, he's a little more steep on this blue too than it looks like at the camera. These players don't like to slow roll the ball very often, so looks like he's maybe sizing up, coming one rail into the 9 with a little left side.
Took him quite some time to hit his stride in the first round against Eklund Kachi. Quite the opposite so far today.
Yeah, and he's so smart and he keeps it so simple, which I think is a big attribute to his game. Could come up for the side here, but a lot of times Josh will just settle for the corner. Just draw the cue ball off the pink, coming back for the purple 5. And all that does, what players don't realize, or some do obviously, but once you start to do that, it just kind of breeds confidence. You're not worried about the short-pocketed shot. You're just really playing the game a bit more purely. Okay, got that funny little angle where drawing back isn't the nicest. To hold underneath. He may let the cue ball run a bit. Oh, he got into that ball nicely.
Yeah, this is the shot we were talking about from the previous rack, and just left an absolute sitter. We were talking earlier about how Ko Ping Chung can keep you sitting down for some time when you give him an opening like this. Well, same's true of filler. That's the way it's proving so far.
Yeah, and that wasn't a missed pot. That was a safety that went very sideways. Oh, my. Didn't expect that. And you talk about ironic showing the mistake there in game number 3, a big one here in game number 4 as well.
And arguably an even bigger one, because that looked elementary for the likes of filler.
Well, we talked about that, of course, that ball wasn't hit how he wanted. That's why it hung, but the tables will get a little more difficult as the days go. Oh, no. Pretty fortunate, but now he's got a tester on the 9, especially after, you know, the heart rate went up a bit there on that shot on the round 7.
Yeah, it's only rack 4 of a possible 19, but this already feels like a massive moment in the match. So a surprising error from Ko Ping Chung cost him rack 3. Roles reversed in the 4th rack. Really surprising miss by filler, and he didn't get back to the table. It's 2-all. And this is the miss we're talking about. How often do you see Joshua Filler miss something like this?
Yeah, and really drove it into that left knuckle. He acted a little surprised, and maybe not so surprised on, you know, how he hit it, but maybe how he saw in the first day or two some of those balls were falling.
It is the thing, though, isn't it, with players in Q Sports with a lot of flair and talent. Sometimes they do surprise you like that. They aren't machine-like the way other players are, and sometimes the unexpected does happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ko Ping Chung to break. Scores are tied, 2 racks each.
Would have been expecting to be 3-1 down and sitting in his chair watching filler break off. Instead, he's back level and starting off the 5th rack.
On this 2, I don't know if it's opened up, but you can see the black and yellow 9 ball not far from it. So if the 2's playable, I think he goes for the run out. But if it's a half a pocket or something slimmer, he's going to play at this combination. You can see, I mean, if he's more straight on the 2, I think, again, he plays to that portion of the pocket for the blue 2, but no reason to go for a tough one. You know, kind of an angle on the blue 2 when you have a chance to win it right here.
You know, we're only just into the 5th rack, and so much has already happened in this match. It wouldn't have been likely with the old pockets, would it?
No, not at all. And you know, this tournament, of course, you know, some question if it's a major, but like Carl said yesterday, it means so much to the players. There's so much pressure in trying to get this Whirlpool Masters. It's definitely a title if you look at the 30th year this year, but the 29 previous winners. It's all class. Awkward shot here. The angle's a little difficult. Oh, he cued it nicely.
Yeah, and we come back again to the longer distances, don't we? I think that's added huge prestige to it, because massive difference between winning a race to 9 and a race to 13. It might not sound like a huge difference, but it's basically half a match again. That's the change we've had in the final, but longer matches right from the start now, and I think that's really enhanced what was already a very special event.
Well, I think going, 14 off the rankings really makes a huge difference as well. They're the players that deserve to be here.
Yeah, nobody's missing from the usual suspects that you name for these big titles.
Oh, a nice touch there from Filler, and that's another department I think he's really improved it. Softer side of shots. Did he get much angle here? Get the cue ball towards the 8 much? I wouldn't say he took that shot for granted, but to me it looked like he's a little flat. He's close to it though, probably just kind of shoves the ball a bit.
Efficient stuff, this from Filler. For the second time in the contest, he leads by a single rack. It's 3-2. Let's look at some numbers from those 5 racks that we've seen so far. You can see some balls have been missed. Mistakes on both sides so far. Just that one break and run that was in the opening rack for Ko Ping Chung. You came up with a really good one yesterday, Jeremy, when I asked you a trivia question, so let's see if you can follow it up. Filler obviously attempting to win the World Masters in his home country. Which players have done that before?
I think one of them's a Polish player.
Yeah.
Rack 6. Joshua Filler's a break.
Let me think. Let me think for a minute there.
Yeah, take your time. 3-2 Filler.
Kind of feel like maybe Earl won it in America once.
No.
No. Well, I'll tell you, his first break off wasn't that good. Pretty much mishit the 1 as poorly as you'll see from Filler, but ever since it's been on point. Nasty grouping on the left side though. Red 3, pink 4, and the 5-7-8. Does he have a combination on the 3-3-4 here after the blue 2? He's gonna play from underneath. He's going to take on a tough shot, trying to open the black 8 and the purple 5. Does he play this with a little draw stroke? Yeah, I was thinking that because you don't want to stun him with another ball and coming outward, so you want to draw off the 8. Look at this guy.
Pure quality. Absolute precision.
How did he go between the 8 and the pink without contacting anything? And I think he does have an open pocket.
You talk about pinpoint accuracy. There's no margin for error there.
Extension call.
Okay, when you're a little close to the ball, you can get a bit of a kick. A lot of times you'll play for it, but he's got a portion of the pocket that may not be available with the brown 7 partially in the way.
He's making this look very easy, but really, the situations that he's had to come through in this, it's an absolute masterclass. One conundrum after another. What a run out this will be if he finishes it.
Yeah, And I'll tell you, and you know, a lot of sports, pros don't watch other pros play a whole lot, believe it or not. But I'll tell you, when the balls lay tough, we all like to see the greats play. That's what we have here. Rack number 6. I think the missed 6 ball earlier kind of woke him up even more, maybe.
Yeah, totally unexpected. It's going to be 2 in a row since that rack costing error. So neither player has been too clear. Until now, Joshua Filler with his first run out from the break in this contest leads Ko Ping Chung 4-2. The best matches aren't about unrelenting high quality. You need a few mistakes and mishaps thrown in along the way. And those that we've seen have been heavily punished so far in this match. It was a difficult combination that Ko Ping Chung attempted, 2-9, which basically cost him a couple of racks. It let Filler in to lead at 3-2. And a wonderful break and run in the rack that followed. It's given Filler a bit of daylight for the first time in this quarterfinal. 4-2 in front.
He's not going to get a shot, but that's that odd ball that I really think a little more pace on the break kind of promotes from time to time. Did catch it a little thin again maybe, but not as bad as his first break, so a push out coming. Maybe a push out to a jump, even though he's gotten so much better tactically. I think he wants to win that way a little bit more often than just settling for a jump shot.
Push out call.
I was going to say, can't quite bump the 8 to the side rail, making the pink more difficult and holding behind the 9. I don't think that's doable. Like to tie something up here if he could, though. Just like that, trying to bump the 8.
It's your choice.
Now he left him a shot he's not going to get back. So, but again, anytime, it's kind of like, you know, when you're behind in any sport, you try to prolong the game a bit. That's what he did by making that pink very difficult by moving the 8 in the way.
Foul stroke. Ball in hand.
Well, just never got started with that attempt.
Please start the clock.
Yeah, 9-ball, 3 fouls, 3 consecutive fouls in a row by the same players. It lost the game, and with the pink 4 in such a terrible situation, I kind of may see a ball in hand with a safety played.
Didn't just graze the 6, really thumped into it, but he was at very close quarters to it.
Yeah, and you notice the awkward stretch, really. Sometimes you don't hit the cue ball quite as squarely on those jump shots. A little miss hit to the left or right. You don't get as much kind of mass into the ball. And again, when the ball's somewhat close, easy to foul. I thought he would move the 1 in a bit tougher position. This is not easy, but a one-rail kick is very playable. He's opened up that pink. So another safety coming, most likely behind the 8. Black 8 with the cue ball, bringing the 1 past the 9. Safety was good, but it was supposed to be better, Michael. This kick shot to the side rail was supposed to be cut off. Supposed to be up underneath that black 8 a bit more, and Josh not a big underdog. Now, the one thing he's got to be aware of, this is the type of shot that could produce a scratch where he's standing. He's going to get away with it. Didn't hit it exactly how he wanted. Well, that one ball, I thought, stopped a little quicker than I anticipated.
Extension call.
Talked about Filler not winning any of the matchroom events in 2023. Of course, he was on the winning team at the Moscone Cup. In terms of individual titles, didn't win one. Was close to winning another team event with Germany. Got to the final of the World Cup along with his pal Moritz Neuhausen.
Future German star, really already becoming one of those stars, Moritz Neuhausen. Fine young man as well.
Oh yeah, really good lad. And very nearly got into this event, actually. He was only one place outside the 14 who got in off the rankings.
Yeah, I was in Boston earlier this year at a ranking event there that if he had won it, I think he would have squeezed into that 14 spot ranking and gotten into this World Pool Masters. You can see that pink does play by the black 8, so he'll come off the red 3 across, a little stun. Doesn't want to be so thin on this pink 4, so won't threaten the scratch in the side or getting behind the green 6, but he will push it a little bit. It's amazing the instinct that these players have. You'll notice the red 3 played it to a little bit the left side of the pocket just to promote the cue ball movement.
Four-2 obviously is a far from insurmountable lead in a race to 10, still a long way to go, but it's one of those where, you know, against an opponent like Filler, can't really afford to fall much further behind because he can just disappear out of sight once he gets some momentum behind him. So this is a really important rack for Ko Ping Chung. He's played a lovely shot there to leave himself a relatively straightforward run to the line. Either player able to take a firm grip on this contest yet. Ko Ping Chung back to only one behind. Joshua Filler's lead cut to 4-3. When he beat Victor Zielinski in the first round, it was the first time Ko Ping Chung had ever won a match in the World Masters. The only time he'd played before was 2 years ago, and he lost in the first round to his brother, Ko Ping. Now, they may meet again in the semi-finals tomorrow, because Ko Ping will be next up against the reigning world champion, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. And there he is, completing his preparations for that match. Still be waiting a while, because some way to go in this one. And FSR himself is over on the other table. He's always got those AirPods, I think they're called, while he's working away at the practice table. He's also looking to win this
Rack 8.
for the first time.
Ko Ping Chung to break. Trailing 4 racks to 3.
Just like Ko Ping Chung, who's back to 1 adrift.
The blue two's going to set up nicely. The one down in the middle. We're getting very used to that with Ko Ping Chung and many of these players. I think the red 3 does play as well. I'll play a little bit of a tricky one from the red 3 to the pink 4, even though the proximity not far away, but a little odd because he's got to play off the green 6 once he contacts the red 3. So we'll see. I think there's any chance of going by the green 6 without contacting it, so maybe he has to play this with a little left side. I don't know, right side to run off the 6 I think doesn't get you anywhere that you want. You end up on top of the pink here. Oh, he could beat it. Watch out for the side pocket. Didn't expect that.
Foul stroke, ball in hand.
I think he expected contact on the green 6, Michael.
Please start the clock.
Yeah, and once he didn't get it and the cue ball started heading in that direction, he knew long before it got there where it was ending up.
Foul stroke.
And absolutely no momentum built up by either player, because every time one of them looks like they might be getting into a bit of stride, they make a mistake or something like that happens. It all makes for a very entertaining contest.
Yeah, but you got to expect one player is going to get them shots after the break and really not kind of group it with that mistake and maybe start to separate a little bit. It is a race to 10 now in the quarterfinals. It'll be 11 in the semis and then 13 in the finals. See our referee, Ben Taylor Fuentes, right on top of it. We do play all ball fouls. So your shirt touches a ball, the cue stick, anything, you surrender ball in hand.
Yeah, coming from a snooker background, when I first got into pool, I was very surprised to hear that that was even a thing, that there were some tournaments you might play in where that isn't the case.
Yeah, this is a little tricky. He could pull this ball 2 rails, but with the 9 there, you may want to stay away from that shot. He may play this with inside. Oh, is that enough? He tried to lay up underneath it. Got a bit more of a shot on the black 8 than we expected.
It's like I was saying earlier, he isn't machine-like in the way some other top players are when they're in their stride. We weren't expecting that, but has he had a bit of a result here?
He's definitely happy that, not happy about the miss, but got to feel like Ko Ping Chung's going to make up for a couple mistakes with a big jump shot here. A bit stretched, and you should see the cue ball hopping a little more after contact on the 8 here. Maybe a delayed draw.
Ko hasn't had any sort of result though. Good chance for Filler now to basically get away with the mistake he made by winning the rack anyway. And with that routine 9, he goes 2 clear once again. Filler now half.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, and that was just a bit tricky. I think he got fooled with the cue ball.
Yeah, it didn't directly cost him the rack, that one, but it did start off a sequence of events that saw Filler go 5-3. Pot success rate, 83% for Ko Ping Chung. Needs to up that.
And again, are the balls agreeing for Filler to try and maybe get a break and run here? I think if he can get to what is the left side of the blue too, he may take on a tough cut shot down the rail. Looks like he's banging this away, playing the cue ball behind the purple 5. He made it. Oh, no, he didn't. Tried to play a bit of a two-way.
The pot success figure will dip a little after that, but as you can see, it was much higher than his opponent. As you say, the pot success can be a little misleading sometimes because often the shot has been played as a two-way.
Yeah, this is one you want to come one rail at. The two-rail escape could really promote a scratch in the lower left.
Foul stroke. Ball in hand.
Yeah, just a little off here in our quarterfinal, and quite possibly,
Please stop the clock.
Could be a worse scoreline than 5-3. So I think Ko Ping Chung, after this game's over, win or lose, take a little walk around the arena on the ad break and get your mind a little more clear.
I was wondering, you know, if across the European Open and Fulda for the last couple of years and now in this tournament, we're perhaps making a bit too much of Filler's quest to win a big title in his home country. But I spoke to him after his first match and he confirmed it really does mean a huge amount to him to try to achieve that. Quarter-finalist when the European Open was first played in Germany in the summer of 22. And then semi-finals when it went back to the same venue last summer. Beat Fedor Gorst in a Hill quarter-final and lost a close semi to Anton Raga.
Nice little tricky one there, and that's why he was shaking his head. He knew he put himself in a position. He kind of had to simplify the pink 4, and even though just inches away from the purple 5, he's got to kind of create something here. Not much angle. The table is kind of slowed up a bit more than usual. As days go on, that does happen, but it seems to me, though, just a bit more than I expected. Maybe a couple times I saw the players kind of look at the cue ball and maybe gave it a glance like they expected a bit more speed.
Urging the cue ball to bend to his will, which it has. Not there, though. Should be okay, but left himself a little more to do than would have been in his ideal plans.
Yeah, pretty big stretch for the lefty. And again, all about how you hit the pocket with the draw stroke here.
The relief is written all over his face there. He's pleased to have come through this rack and gone 3 clear for the first time in the match. The winning line just starting to appear on the horizon now. He leads 6-3. Welcome back to Germany. First time that the World Masters has been played in this country. Hildesheim is the venue, and it's proving a wonderful success here. The week after next, there'll be even more big names on show in a big field event. The UK Open, the first really big ranking tournament of 2024. All the big stars will be in the lineup. You may have heard, actually, that former Premier League footballer Troy Deeney has been given an invitation into that tournament. Soon after that, we're off to Saudi Arabia for the World Pool Championship, a $1 million prize fund. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz defending the title he won in the snows of Poland early last year. And then back to this country, into Fulda for the 3rd year in a row for the European Open. David O'Cady, the winner in a dramatic final against Anton Raga last summer. He'll be there to defend his title.
6 racks to 3.
Ko Ping Chung won the US Open last year from 6-3 down in the final. He trails by that score now against Joshua Filler in this quarter-final.
Yeah, but as we talk about in every match with these great players, is get some of the scrappiness at the beginning of matches with tough layouts, maybe some push-outs, not so many shots after the break, but usually will start to unfold for one player or another. Now Josh Filler, really nice on the red 3 after making 2 balls on the break.
Yeah, in terms of outcome, it was pretty much the best break we've seen in the whole match so far.
Yeah, and he's hit this nicely. Had a lot of options, maybe even a 5-9 combo on the opposite side, but he's going to play for the purple 5 and the middle nearest.
You know, that pairing of Filler and Moritz Neuhausen we were talking about, you could see that being the German pairing for many years to come now in the World Cup. And with that in mind, it would be very surprising if they didn't win another one soon. Had they won the final last year, they would have actually equaled the record of 3, which was shared by the Philippines and China. As it was, Philippines claimed the record all for themselves for their 4th World Cup win.
Yeah, I've watched many of those World Cups, been at a few now, and to me, the way the Philippines played last year was just like they were not to be denied. It's the most incredible shot after shot display you've ever seen. You know, more so from Chua, you may say. He was the one that was having to attack on some just impossible plays, but James Aranis was as solid as could be as well.
Yeah, World Cup number 4 for the Philippines with that win over Filler and Neuhausen. And 4 is also the distance between the players now in this match. They were level at 2-all, but Joshua Filler has dominated since then, winning 5 of the last 6 racks, and he now needs just 3 more to be the first man through to the semi-finals. So I think time's up now, Jay. I asked you earlier which players have won the World Masters in their home country. You did say one Polish player, and you are right about that. So
yeah,
can you tell me who it was?
One more quick guess.
We're really putting the pressure on you now by showing you trying to come up with this answer.
All right, I'm going to stick with that. All right, go ahead. Give us the.
Karol Skwarski in Kielce was actually the last player to win this title in his home country in 2012. And a couple of guys representing England, Daryl Peach in 1995, the youngest ever winner, and Raj Hundal then, exactly a decade later, although I think he later switched allegiance to India. He was representing England at the time. And you look at the countries the World Masters has been played in, your own country, the Philippines, the Netherlands, and still they're the only guys who've won it at home. Joshua Filler looking to change that.
Well, of course, didn't get to watch Zaworski play a ton, but you know, the Whirlpool Masters always has that class field, and it sounds like a bit of underdogs were the ones that really were to take it down in their home country.
Yeah, you mentioned Earl Strickland there, but when he won it, it was in England. As a World Masters in his own country, but no American has managed to win it there.
Yeah, and you can't take anything away from Raj, and of course Daryl Peach, a former World Nineball champion, but considering the fields again, you had to think they were a bit of long odds. All right, putting the blue 2 near the 9 somewhat. This is going to open up a hair. Still going to leave nothing easy, though. And when you have an opponent, even as great as he is, when he's had a few struggles, it can become a bit mental. So that's when you kind of make sure you're not going to give away anything easy. That's what he's done here. Go for the 2-4 in the corner. It's laying pretty nice. I mean, considering options. Can dig on the cue ball a little bit. Problem with that 2-4, what's the future of getting a shot on the blue 2?
Extension cool.
Love to see him play it, though. And he was playing all cue ball there. Some may label that as a missed pot, but he certainly wasn't trying to play the pink.
Wouldn't be game over for Ko Ping Chung if he lost this rack. But even for someone who has his recent history of long runs of winning racks in matches, try to come from 8-3 down, basically trying to win 7 out of 8 racks against Joshua Filler. It's a big ask.
Yeah, even as great as he breaks the balls, that's why the break rule is so good. It's very difficult, and what happens is your mistakes are, they show up. And if you give up a lead after making some mistakes, you have to do something special to make a comeback. And it appears no real path to hit this ball. Looking to try and tie these up. Now this is where the slick table may help him. Being able to bend this a little bit off the side rail, go to the top rail with maybe a hair of left check. Come right at the blue two.
Foul stroke, all in hand. Please start the clock.
Pretty nifty little play. I think he's kind of put the 6 on the 9 to where the 6 doesn't play into the black 8. It doesn't go by the brown 7. See how Josh wants to take care of this puzzle. Wonder if there's a kiss shot off the green 6 into the 9. Let's say he plays like maybe the pink or the purple off the 8 to open the pocket. Some options there possibly. Josh isn't going to take too many chances though if it's a low percentage, even with a 4-game lead. Tell you what he can do is he can stun over for an angle on the purple on the side and come crashing into the 6-9. This is the shot I was talking about, maybe playing this off just the edge of the black 8 and trying to come over for the 6-9 kiss shot. Did he get enough angle to move the cue ball though? He's gotten himself in a spot to where he's just got to pull on the reins a little bit and maybe just play the simple safety behind the 9 off the green 6. He's going to play a kiss shot here. Okay, what he's looking at is he's looking to play the 6 into the 9, coming off his right side of the green 6, pocketing the 8, and developing the 6 to go by the brown 7. Pretty complex little shot. He'll take that though. Combination on the 6-7 isn't too difficult.
And a couple of times in this match, he's had a real conundrum to sort out, but shot after shot, he's kept unpicking the lock. This would be in that category if he could finish off the job. Yeah, and this was the shot that really opened up the opportunity to see out the rack from here. It's two skills at play, really, isn't it? Having the imagination and the experience to think of the shots, and then, of course, the ability to execute them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where the players today really appreciate the rule changes. You see so much more of the game now instead of just the wing ball going in, the one over the corner, and just a bunch of simple runouts. Culmination.
What a wonderful rack of pool Joshua Filler has just played there, showcasing all his talents and winning his 4th rack in a row. He's only 2 away now from a place in the semi-finals, leading Ko Ping Chung 8-3. Well, those shots he played towards the end of that were an absolute joy to watch, so I think we're going to have another look at them. No wonder he looks so pleased with himself. This was the real key shot, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. There were a lot of little things he could have done maybe to attack that grouping, and I think this was the smartest one by far, especially once he got himself in the position on the purple 5. Kind of simplified it, but still pretty brainy.
And this was pretty good as well. Really, after that, he had done the hard work. The shot before, there's just so many moving parts, and to control them all and get them all into the positions he wanted to. There's a lot to be done with one stroke of the cue ball.
Leading 8 racks to 3.
Yeah, well, I don't know about Europe, but back in Texas, in my area, a lot of places have gone to the 9 on the spot with the break box, even in amateur play, and I tell you, it's going to bode benefits for all those players improving their game, just because you're going to see so much more of it. But it's really something special with the pros. He can attack. Does have a cut shot here. 6-7's a little nasty. You can see the green 6 and brown 7. Pretty thin here on the blue 2, though. Even though a big lead, probably not going to take any chances. Wants to come 2 rails between the 6 and 9. Going to lay it right on the 9. Is he going to get the snooker behind the black 8? Maybe a hair fortunate there. Well, did half the battle, held the cue ball nicely on the end rail. He did a little fortune with the blue 2, but it wasn't to be. Definitely a makeable ball on the side here for Josh. Now, does he try to do something with the 6-7 here? Take maybe a long ball. But he's looking at his 3 rails. He can come 2 rails across the 6. He can come 3 rails behind across the 6. Both play to where the cue ball may continue up the table. I'd really look at the 2-railer more than the 3-railer myself. But, you know, he's at the table. And in America, we call American football, right? It's a game of inches. So if you talk about that, what is pool? And you see how the cue ball still continued upward a little bit, so the creativity is something that's on point today.
He'll be so pleased with this performance if he finishes the job. It's not been a day when everything's come easily and the balls have always just fallen nicely. He's had to keep coming up with answers. That's all the more satisfying.
Well, of course, he's gaining confidence, it seems like, every shot, but that's a little light, I think. Maybe a 6-9, maybe a bank on the 6, probably a safety. 8-3 is a big lead, but a very dangerous player, of course, in the chair at the moment. But the one thing that opens the door for him being creative is he doesn't mind the long shot. He knew he was going to be somewhat long on the pink 4. But again, his confidence is brewing.
Boosted even further by that. You noticed as he was walking around there, it was like he was taking in the setting, looking at the crowd and thinking, this is a moment to enjoy. I'm here in my home country, playing in a big event, playing well, plenty of people here cheering me on. Got to absorb these moments in your career.
Yeah, the cue ball, I think, settled, though, behind the 9, so he's got to pull off another. Watch out, side pocket.
No wonder he raises the hand. That really is rubbing it in for his opponent. He's become something of a forgotten man in this match in the last number of racks.
Yeah, but he still hit the ball how he wanted. He wanted the cue ball up the table, trying to leave something long, just in case he didn't. Kind of fluke to 7.
Nothing fluky about that. A wonderful, confident shot on the 8, and absolutely perfect on the 9. And speaking of 9, that's the total he's now reached, and that means Joshua Filler is on the hill. Ko Ping Chung is going to have to win 7 in a row. Joshua Filler has played so well in this quarter-final, where he's now just one away from victory, leading Ko Ping Chung 9-3. He's had one or two bits of fortune along the way, and this was certainly among them. But as you were saying, Jeremy, he may have had this in his mind that this could have happened, that the 7 may drop in the side.
Yeah, definitely going for the corner, possibility to the side, trying to play the cue ball up long. On the miss, making Ko Ping Chung, who hasn't been out of his chair offensively in some time, come with some kind of long shot.
Yeah, and a rueful shake of the head a couple of times, looking over to his opponent, even a couple of shots later, acknowledging he'd had some good fortune there. Joshua Filler has streaked away from 4-3. He's won 5 in a row. One more gets him into the semis.
Well, we're going to get to see Ko Ping Chung, or at least I assume we're going to get to see him back at the table with the blue 2 kind of pinned on the bottom rail, and the pink 4 somewhat in the way.
Ko Ping Chung, it's your choice.
We saw Shane Van Bonen in pretty much the match of the tournament so far last night, needing to win 4 racks in a row at the end of the match, and he did it. Ko Ping Chung arrives at the table with an even more onerous task.
And you can see a little pale, you might say it, right? A little shell-shocked to only be trying 4-3, and not sure he's pocketed a ball since, really.
Joshua, please play again.
Again, it's not the score line, I think, that you can see a little off there from Ko Ping Chung. It's just with the chances he's had, he's made some mistakes. He's just so good edging the ball. And Ko Ping Chung saw that shot. He just realized how difficult it was, but of course, Filler, who plays with so much confidence, just got down and struck it quickly and pretty much perfectly.
Extension call.
Took a while to get going as a World Masters player, Filler. Beaten in his first match in his first couple of appearances, but then a semi-final, and then, of course, winner.
Probably going to go the air here, even if he has maybe a little edge on the blue 2. The blue 2 does go by the 8 in the corner.
Extension call.
I wouldn't say Josh is like Federer with the short cue, but he is pretty handy with it.
So if a miracle turnaround is to happen, it's got to start here. Yeah, the overhead made me think there was more of a play on the 3 in the side.
Wonder if he tracks the cue ball all the way down or he comes for a 3-9 combo. Side pocket, watch out. It's going to be short of it. Going to be a little behind this combination, which is always the oddest way. It's a little bit of a blind pocket, I might say, but still a big favorite to make this.
Just a few minutes shy of half an hour since he last potted a ball. Okay, so that's a start. Needs 7 in a row. There's the first of them. Very short 13th rack. So Ko Ping Chung wins his first rack since rack 7. This was a decent effort, JJ, as you said. Wasn't where he intended the cue ball to be.
Yeah, and he played it with a nice light speed, trying to open up the pocket a bit on the 9. You could see it caught a little bit of the side cushion, but from that shallow angle, always going to have a good chance to go. Now he's really got to get the break going, which we figure him to make the 1, but it's got to be shots after the break.
That US Open win he had back in September was by no means out of nowhere, because not long prior to that he'd won a big tournament in Quezon City. Very similar really in terms of the scale of it, maybe not quite the same quality of field. He also won a 3rd ranking event of last year in his home country in November. So 3 ranking titles in total in 2023. He was 1 rack away from winning another one in Romania.
Yeah, and here, of course, he's going to attack. Looks like the pink 4 and the green 6 are kind of grouped, but you got to believe the pink's got a pocket. But I wonder if, you know, he can get a rack down here, and I'd like to see when he's on the fence, you know, whether it's a safety or a shot, and see what he does, understanding how good Filler has become tactically, kicking at the ball, jumping, all kinds of situations. Figure you'd have to sit him down for 3 or 4 racks to make this comeback.
It's a shot that suggests a lot of the confidence has maybe ebbed out of him. He's had a bit of a result.
You know, a little more kind of body movement, a little bit, maybe a hair quick. And not so much quick with the stroke, but just a little quick, you know, getting into the shot. Exactly what I was talking about, how good Filler has gotten with the kick shot and the safety plays, the decisions tactically, and so you feel you can't really win this kind of comeback expecting the safety to really hold up.
Have we just seen Ko Ping Chung's last shot in this year's World Masters? Being in the semi-finals, must have seemed a world away on Thursday evening when he was 4-1 down to Eklund Kachi and really struggling and battling a bad cold as well. And that's where he could be in a few minutes' time, and he will be absolutely delighted with how he's applied himself here. It was all quite close at the start. There was only 1 in it after 7 racks at 4-3. A really accomplished display over the next 5 racks, so all of them go to the German. Although Ko Ping Chung found a quick route to taking rack 13, it looks as though More likely than not, the recovery is going to be nipped in the bud from there.
Yeah, just avoid falling straight here on the green 6. Just needs a little bit of an angle. He's gotten it. So we're going to lose our reigning U.S. Open champion, Ko Ping Chung, and lose that chance of maybe a all-co semifinal against each other, the two brothers meeting off. But it's been a special one from here, from Filler.
Without a doubt, and of course he's first man through now, so he's got the rest of the day to rest up and relax ahead of coming back here. What he hopes will be 2 long matches tomorrow. They've turned out in numbers here in Germany to cheer on their leading pool star. It's the sort of thing he thrives on, and he has delivered massively here. From just one ahead at 4-3, Joshua Filler has streaked away. He has beaten Ko Ping Chung by 10 racks to 4. He has played so well to do it. He's into the semi-finals for the 3rd time in 4 years. He was the champion 2 years ago, and he's 2 wins away from repeating the feat in his homeland. Filler the winner, 10-4.